Hello everyone, this is Rabab Alma, licensed marriage and family therapist and international life coach. Our topic for today is emotional vulnerability. Let me know what you think that means in the comment section. While people are joining, I will share this with my other pages. Again, the topic for today is emotional vulnerability. So, as I always say, this lives and videos are meant for general info only. They are not meant for medical or professional help. So let me share this with my other pages, and let me know where are you joining me from. What do you think emotional vulnerability is, and what do you feel about the subject? Is it something that it's hits home, something that it doesn't concern you, or something you are interested in? Let me know what you feel, how you feel about this subject. So I have some notes here. So what is emotional vulnerability? Emotional vulnerability is Fajr, thank you for joining me. So it's about openness. I don't mean my vulnerability is when we are in a vulnerable situation because of the circumstances or because of something happened to us. No, this is a choice. I choose to be vulnerable. And I think sometimes it can be difficult, or sometimes we don't recognize that we are not being vulnerable, or we are choosing not to be vulnerable or open about how we feel. I encountered this with a close friend of mine today, that the person kept insisting on pointing out what they are noticing. And I was completely blind to it, but they were so persistent. And then when I opened up, then it shifted the whole conversation, and I believe the relationship into a different direction. It's extremely important when we feel vulnerable, feel open about how we feel and what we are experiencing. So how can we do that? And I have here some notes. Being open about our emotions and how we feel actually takes the relationships and the interactions with people to a different level. It brings people closer. It actually seeks understanding. So when you are vulnerable and you're open about how you feel, so people know what's going on in your life, and they can provide support, understanding, or at least they are not pushing you to do something you can or you cannot do. So actually it might save you a lot of headache to be vulnerable about how you feel and to share your feelings. So if we are unable to be vulnerable and open about our emotions, are you ready to be open about sharing that you struggle with vulnerability? Vulnerability can be very empowering. It's like you're telling the other person who you are, and even if the outcome is uncertain. So you are not sure, if I share this with this person, I am not sure what's going to happen. I don't know what their reaction will be. But I know if I share how I feel, then this will lift a load off of my shoulder. I will feel like lighter, more in touch with myself. It's like these feelings and anxiety, I feel it inside of me. Suddenly, I let that go. So Diab says, everything is common sense, really. Yeah, that makes sense. So I think even if the outcome is not certain, it's actually easier to express our vulnerability to people and let them know how we feel and let them know what's going on. And we want to let them know that vulnerability does not come natural to us. Like we are struggling with it. I cannot be open. I am struggling with that. So do they understand? Or they might shift some of their reactions, so they will provide some environment for you to open up. Or you might want to seek a therapist or a coach for you to be open in a safe place without judgment. Another way of being vulnerable is actually to ask, when people ask you how you are, say the truth. I mean, sometimes I hear a lot about this especially with the college communities. Everything's fine. People are good. They have this face that everything is wonderful, but nothing actually is going right. We have that face and we put that smile, but no one knows what's happening inside. People put their pictures and their information on social media that things are wonderful, life is beautiful, but they're going through a lot and they are not sharing that with anybody. It's like you hear sometimes about these stories about people, and this is an extreme, but it's happening, about suicide, and sometimes you feel so shocked by, oh my God, this person, I mean, he was a comedian, she was whatever. But this is what's happening. These people who are actually entertaining others, they're miserable. They're going through tough times. And sometimes when you're a public figure, or when someone don't want to really share what's going on in their lives, then they suffer alone in isolation. And that's why sometimes we hear these stories about suicide. And that breaks the heart. Because those people can seek help. Someone can help them. But they did not feel safe or comfortable to seek help. That breaks my heart. So we want to say the truth, regardless what people think or say. We want to be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we have thoughts and we just shove them under the rock. No, that's not right. No. You have this gut feeling that you want to use it. You want to utilize it to your advantage. You want to know. You want to actually address those feelings. You want to trust your intuition. You want to share your passion, your dreams with people, what you want, what you don't want, what you like, what you don't like. You want to actually state what you want clearly. And set boundaries. Like, some people cannot say no. They just say yes to everything and they are just overwhelmed. They have a lot on their plates. They cannot really handle it. Saying no and being vulnerable. Really, I cannot do this. Seriously, I cannot do that. I can maybe help you with this, but at a later time. You need to tell me some of my, even like for instance, as an instructor, as a professor at school, you want to tell your students, I will read, for instance, your assignments, but give me a week before the due date. So you wanna give some boundaries. You want to put some limits to everything with your children. With my daughter, for instance, Tarek said hello. Noreen, thank you for joining. You want to set boundaries with your children, with your parents. I mean, you don't have to be disrespectful, but you can say, for instance, well, I cannot do this, or I will do that at a later time. You can be respectful and compassionate, but also put yourself. Salam, Noreen, how are you? Thank you for joining. You want to be able to set your boundaries and put yourself as a priority. Because if you don't do that, like for instance, I see that at my office, in my practice, some people will say, no, I cannot say that. No, I cannot say no. No, I have to take care of this. I need to make sure that everyone is happy. And they put themselves at the end of the list. And then it happened with me, I think with 3 or 4 clients of mine, that they come later on with panic attacks because they kept ignoring their feelings and shoving everything and bottling their feelings down. Noreen said, I have a hard time setting boundaries. So, I found helpful when we, for instance, anticipate what people might ask us and kind of prepare the answer. Even sometimes write it down. It's like I know, like you kind of know, for instance, people around you, unless if it's like a stranger, which might be easier to tell them no. But if you know people around you will ask you, and we will push and will ask you for so many things, and you will feel that you were pulled in so many directions, you'll be prepared. And if I got asked about, for instance, this Sunday, my answer will be 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't realize I am being taken advantage of. Yeah, sometimes we don't, but our gut feeling, that feeling of annoyance when someone asks you something, that feeling of something does not sit right, that's an indication that your system is not really accepting that you're feeling that you're being taken advantage of. And we want to trust that feeling. We want to just delay it until we say yes, and then at the end of the day we are overwhelmed, and now we are thinking about how I'm going to get out of it after I made a commitment. I think sometimes what we want to say, maybe I will think about it and get back to you. And then maybe you will think of, do you want to do it or not? I will think about it, and give me a couple of days and I will let you know. Then you will have enough time to think and contemplate if you want to do what's being asked of you or not. So you give yourself time to think, or you want to write down, I feel guilty saying no. Yeah, I think it goes back also to what went on in our lives, in our childhood, in our teenage years, what we have internalized. And I think it's a good idea to work on our self-esteem and putting ourselves as a priority. Like just to practice saying no. In the beginning it's going to be hard and difficult, but the minute you say no the first time, it's kind of just, you might feel guilty, but there is a sense of joy, like simultaneously you feel the same two feelings at the same time, and that's the beginning of it. Like feel uncomfortable just the first time and say no, even it feels like you are just, it's just draining you, it's just sucking the life out of you, but just push yourself to say no once and see how you feel afterwards. Then because you felt that relief, you might feel, oh, I'm gonna say it another time. So I will tell you, when I started doing these lives, I used to be so nervous to the point that the whole day, the whole Tuesday, I don't talk to anybody, I don't want to see anybody, I want to prepare, I'm so nervous. I don't want to be on the I'm gonna do a live. Are you for real? No. But then so I kept doing that and being nervous for the whole day and the night before, like for 2, 3, 4 weeks. Now, after months, I prepare like 10 minutes before, and then I still have this anxiety, didn't go away, but it's not at the same level. And I don't have to prepare like 24 hours in advance. I don't have to sit paralyzed doing nothing except just worrying about the life. I think so. Practice. We want to practice. We want to push ourselves to practice what we know we need to do for our own sake. Saying no is important because we feel that we are setting ourselves as a priority. We are important. We need to train people on how to treat us, because the amount of the space we allow people to be in our life or to ask of us, then we are actually training them how to treat us. Oh no, she will say yes. Oh no, people will not think twice before asking you, because oh, she's gonna say yes. But then when you start saying no, then they will kind of like, oh, we need to gauge that. Is it appropriate? So you will gain more respect. And why? Because you started to respect your own self. If we don't provide that respect for our own selves, we are not going to get that from people. And that starts by setting boundaries and saying no, even if it feels uncomfortable in the beginning. It will be a joy afterwards. I hope I answered your question, Noreen. So the other point is, don't be afraid to cry. So I also hear that in our sometimes in my practice with my clients. I don't want to cry. Cry. It's okay. I have an ugly cry. I have never ever seen someone who has a beautiful cry. We don't. Oh, thank you. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Noreen. Thank you for your feedback. When we cry, who cares? Just cry. People don't like the way I cry. I don't. It doesn't matter. It just relieves me. I have emotions. I need to get them out. If you feel yourself that you are crying excessively, try to talk to someone. Seek help. Because sometimes we are stuck in our mind. We are ruminating about something, or something is being triggered. Like that happened with me. Like I feel like something is happening and I'm being triggered. Why I feel, suppressing emotions. This all comes back from our how we were trained in our childhood, in our teenage years. What happened in our life, and we were advised, or we were ashamed, or we were guilty of talking about. What happened? Like, it's a family secret we cannot talk about. It's our privacy. We don't have to talk about it, and then we suppress, and no one knows about what we are going through. And it becomes a habit, a second nature. We cannot talk, we cannot open up, and that affects us, our spouses, and our children, because they will learn from us that we don't talk about emotions in this house. No one speak about their emotions. So I think when we're parents, I think it's important for us to set an example and a role model for our children. If my daughter, if she knows that I will speak about my emotions, I'll pick up the phone. She's at the dorm, okay? I'll pick up the phone. Do you have 5 minutes? I will tell her, Lemise, do you have 5 minutes? Yes, Mama. Okay, I'm gonna talk now. Just listen to me. Are we talking? Okay, I'm fine now. When I do that, then she will learn to do the same. She will call me and she'll, Mama, I'm so upset. Okay, do you have 5 minutes? Yes. She's gonna just talk. And of course, I'm her daughter. She's my daughter. I'm her mother. So there are this mother figure, or I have to, certain things I will share, certain things I will not. But I think setting the example for our children, and letting them know that it's okay to talk about our emotions. Mahmoud, thank you for joining. It's important to set that habit or that pattern in the family, because, and especially this with boys, because boys, and I've seen that a lot, that boys don't express their emotions and they keep it in, and then they don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening with them, and then when they get married and they have a significant other, then the significant other will be complaining about them not sharing emotions, and then problems start. I don't know what's going on. He is down, but I don't know. He doesn't talk. And I receive this a lot from clients. I don't know what to do. He will not say. He will not talk about it. And also the way we raise our boys, man up, don't cry. Crying is not for boys. Why not? Let them cry. Let them share their emotions. It affects, when they keep their emotions down, it affects their health, blood pressure. They have a lot of issues because of this. They don't talk. They keep everything in. It's affecting our health. Heart attacks, panic attacks, other issues. A lot of people go to ER and the ER send them back. You have no problems. You just have stress. Okay, are we setting an example for our children how to deal with stress? How? Do they know? Or they just see you, or I see that a lot of the families sometimes, just the mother got sick, continuously sick. And by the way, most of the sickness are not about physical stuff. Most of the call out, when people call out of work, most of the call are not for physical illness. Some are, but a lot are not. It's about mental health. People are so down, so depressed, so anxious. They are overwhelmed, and they just call out. They just want to stay home and be alone because it's too much to handle. Fatiha, thank you for joining. So we don't have to jump to, like, for instance, big steps. We can start with baby steps, little things. Like, talk about just little things in the beginning. We don't have to talk about everything. Fatiha, alaikum assalam, thank you for joining. So take it easy. Give yourself, Susan, thank you for joining. Take it easy, take it slowly. We want to start slowly with baby steps. We don't have to talk about really, really deep emotions right away. How you feel today? How was your day? Just little stuff. And then slowly you will be able to open up. It's important to choose the time, to choose the way, and to choose with whom you're going to open up. Susan, wonderful video. Yes, baby steps. Thank you, Susan. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Everything starts with baby steps. It's going to be scary in the beginning. It's going to be like, feel like I'm suffocating. Like I said before about doing videos, lives on Facebook. That was absolutely, I will not do that. What are you talking about? I was talking to my coach back then. I'm not going to do that. It took me days. Oh, thank you, Susan. Thank you for joining and for your feedback. Yeah, it took me, I don't know, weeks even to think about it, to start, just take the step. And I mentioned earlier, I used to be so nervous about it. So what is it? So maybe saying no, setting boundaries, being vulnerable and open, whatever it is, we all have a struggle. Each and every one of us has a struggle, something to work on. What is it? You want to write it down. You want to write it down. And you want to imagine, like, sit, relax, and comfortable, and like you can put like some essential oils around you or some soft music, and think and focus. What is it that I really, really want to work on? And what is the ultimate goal? It's like, I wish I can be speaking in front of 10,000 people. This is just an example. I wish I can just say no to anyone, that if I don't like it, I don't want to do it, I just, no, I can't, like right away. Like in a year, I want to be able to do that. Write it down and put an action plan. What are you going to do to achieve that? Like we said, baby steps. What are you gonna, just change one thing in the beginning, and then maybe in a month later, and you do it consistently for weeks, like a couple of weeks, and then after that do another thing. And make sure to celebrate that win. Find someone that will support you, will be happy for you, and share that feeling with them. Hold yourself accountable, and tell that person, your therapist, your coach, or that dear friend, that I am planning to do so and so, and I want your support. Ask for support. Asking for help and support is actually bravery. It's amazing to ask for that. Fatiha said, stick with your goals. Absolutely. So you wanna know your goal, and you wanna write it down, and you wanna have an action plan. What do you wanna do? What is it you need to work on? So our topic for today is vulnerability. Are we willing to be vulnerable? Are we willing to be open? Are we willing to share how we feel? I had a talk with a friend, and she was talking about her issue. And then I did have a similar issue in the past. And she was talking, and she knows, so we are friends. I'm not talking to her as a therapist. And I felt like there was a distance when she was talking to me. And then I found myself, Susan said, yes, being afraid and doing it anyway is brave and courageous. Absolutely, absolutely. And we all have that inside of us. We just want to tap into it and bring it out to the surface. Because remember in your life, do you remember a time when you were so brave? Of course you were so brave. You took decisions. You went to school. You did that homework that it was so difficult. You did that activity that it was so challenging. You, if you have children, you had children, it was a scary experience and it was a joy afterwards. We all did stuff that are scary. We just don't think about them. You bought that house, you started that business, you started that job, you went to the university, you traveled, you immigrated, whatever it is. Every single person has a brave experience. We just want to tap and really recognize it and tap into it and think about it and document it and think, what did you use to achieve that? We often underestimate our courage and our power, or we give our power away. So back to the story about the friend. So she was talking to me about her story, and I was sitting and I was thinking, okay, although I am a therapist, but at that moment I wasn't a therapist, I am a friend. What's going on? Why there is a gap? Why there is a barrier? I felt it. And I remembered that I had similar issue to the one that she's talking about. I'm not going to say the details, of course, for confidentiality. So I started sharing with her. And that shifted the whole dynamic of the interaction, the whole relationship actually. It shifted from a formal, kind of like a collegious, as colleagues, like we were just colleagues, to close friendships. When I started talking about, I had similar experience, and yeah, I do feel what you're feeling, not because I am a therapist, no. It's because this has happened to me, with me, and I explained how I felt, what I went through. It's like I had a very, very bad experience back in 2016. So many things happened. I was laid off from my pharmaceutical job. I had a very close friendship that ended abruptly. There are so many things happened at the same time. It was a very tough time. And when I started talking to her about this, then we started to connect on a different level. I think when we are vulnerable, when we are ready to share our feelings, what's happening with us, what happened. I'm not talking about sharing your privacy, but talking about your feelings. Like now, I am not mentioning exactly the details because no one really needs to know the nitty-gritty of the details. But yeah, you want to know, and I think it's more of a connection issue when we connect over that. We all have the same feelings. We all feel vulnerable. We all feel sad, disappointed. We feel discouraged. We feel that we are let down. We feel rejected. We feel all kind of stuff, and we want to talk about them. So those feelings are energy. What are we going to do with this energy? If we do not direct it in the right direction, if we don't channel it in a positive way, energy does not go away. It does not disappear. Energy does not die. Are you going to keep it inside of you? And then that what creates anxiety and other mental health issues. So what is it about vulnerable people? When we are vulnerable, what happens? And what are the indications? What vulnerable people do? They are able to try new experiences despite the fear. Despite that they are scared to death of this experience, but I'm excited about it. It's like so scary, but I'm gonna do it. Tahira, thank you for joining us. So, trying new experiences, despite that how you feel, is important. Vulnerable people are able to do that. Vulnerable people are confident. They have peace with their feelings. They are okay with their feelings. They trust their feelings. They are not ashamed of their feelings. They do not avoid negative feelings, negative emotions, because we all have them. We're human. We have them. I feel upset, I feel jealous, I feel intimidated, I felt let down. We are human and we feel that at a certain point. Vulnerable people are able. Tahira, wa iyakum, thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for joining. So yes, Vulnerable people they are okay with their negative emotions, because I'm a human being. I have negative emotions. I will share it. I'm upset. I'm jealous. I'm angry. Whatever it is. Vulnerable people accept bad things happen in their lives. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. When bad things happen in our lives, it feels heavy. And we feel that Miriam said, thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Miriam, for joining. When bad things happen in our lives, we feel down. We feel let down. We feel that, what did I do to deserve this? Or we start asking why. But as long as we are alive, bad things will happen. And if we focus on the negative part of that, then we might go in a spiral. But every negative experience has a lesson into it. It's engulfed in a lesson. There is a lesson inside of that experience. I know that certain things don't work. I know I shouldn't say this or do that. I know, for instance, I should not, whatever it is that doesn't work for you. Some people cannot really go out for a walk in the morning. It's not good for them. They just get sick. You know that it's not gonna, don't do it another time. You're not gonna do it. Whatever example, whatever something, the negative, you applied for a job and you got rejected. You applied for a scholarship and you got rejected. Why did they reject me? I spent so much time on this. I prepared and they rejected me. Maybe there's something even better is waiting for you. Maybe you are meant to go on a different path. Maybe you just applied for that because it's offered, but your heart is somewhere else, but you are not recognizing that. Dig deep. Those bad incidents that happen in our life, those are opportunities for us to explore deeper what's happening inside of us and what we really need or want. It's about perception. It's about how we look at things. Ultimately, we will need to keep going. If you are a mother and you are overwhelmed, you will need to keep taking care of your children. What are you going to do? So you need to change your mindset, your lifestyle, your schedule, whatever it takes. So you take care of yourself and express your feelings and be vulnerable and open. Herman, thank you. Thank you for joining. So, vulnerable people, they value relationships and they value emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy, when we sit with someone, when we connect with someone, even if we don't sit with them, sometimes over the phone. Sometimes I have a friend of mine that I connected with over written correspondence. And there is this emotional intimacy and connection that was created. It was amazing. It's to have the ability to be there, to feel the other person and to express your feelings, to feel the same feeling at the same time, at the same level, at the same intensity. That would be amazing. Are we willing to do that? You know, when we reach that level with someone, this cannot be forgotten. You will never be able to forget that moment. I remember one of my supervisors told me that. She told me, you know, Rabab, if you reach that moment, you will never forget it. That level of satisfaction, that level of emotional intimacy. And this is what we want to thrive for, to have that level of connection with people around us, with our significant others, with our children, our spouses, friends. Vulnerable people connect with strangers. They are able to go to put themselves out there and open a conversation with strangers. Talk about what's going on. You know, have this connection and say hello. Talk about little talk. We're able, those people, the vulnerable people, are so comfortable with their own skin. So they are ready to start new connections and new friendships. Vulnerable people can make great leaders. You are a leader in your family. You're a leader at your work, at your practice, with your friends, with your Facebook group, whatever it is, you're a leader. Once you show that vulnerability, you share feelings, and you are able to state what you want, set boundaries, then you are a leader. And you know, the first thing, you want to be a leader in your own life. Vulnerable people are kind to themselves. To themselves. And we talked about boundaries earlier. They're able to say no. They take care of themselves. They're ready to change plans because, you know, they want to take time for self-care. They take care of themselves. They take the time. And they embrace their own vulnerability. They don't feel ashamed of it. They don't feel ashamed. They are proud of it. Because they are in tune with their own emotions. They're comfortable with their own emotions. They feel relieved. They feel happy. They feel that joy. So they're comfortable with it. So are you comfortable with being vulnerable? Are you ready to be open? Are you ready to be open with your emotions and feelings? Are you ready to start taking baby steps to do that? How are you going to do it? Put a time frame. Write it down. It will feel great once you start letting go of these negative feelings and start to be vulnerable and open and connecting with people around you. If you like this video, please hit like and share. Or I will download this video onto YouTube so you can subscribe to that channel. And thank you for watching, and I wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you. Bye.